Hey everybody, Sam Ovens here and welcome to this training video on developing your millionaire mindset. Now this is a really important training module because I'm sure you've realized so far that it's not just information and knowing what to do that counts. If it was just knowing what to do that was important, a lot of people would already be very successful. And there's a lot of people that are very good at knowing things and understanding things, but somehow they don't seem to do it and they don't seem to have money. And if you've ever felt like you know exactly what you need to do, but somehow you just can't do it, or you know you have potential, but you can't just reach out and grab it. It's like you're driving down the road with your handbrake pulled up. You're moving, but it's slow, and it's like something's holding you back, and you're not quite sure what it is. Well, if you've ever felt that way, it's your mindset. And your mindset is so important, and there really is no way to possibly become a millionaire without the right mindset. And you can make money with the wrong mindset, but it's always going to be an uphill battle, and it's going to be like driving your car around with the handbrake on, and it's going to wear it out, it's going to do damage to the vehicle, and the same is true with your mindset. So when it comes to success, I always say that you need a plan, you need specialized knowledge, and you need the right mindset. And this video is going to tell you about how to get your mindset set up the right way. It's crucially important, and it will serve you for the rest of your life if you take the time to do this correctly. So this is a video you definitely want to watch to the very end and complete all the exercises. It's super important. So an overview of this training. We're going to start off with misconceptions about success. So a lot of beliefs that people have about success that are just dead wrong. Then I'm going to show you how bad things were when I got started. So I want to show you really how bad my mindset was when I got started in business. I didn't have any head starts or anything like that, and I want to prove that to you guys. And the truth is that my situation is probably a lot worse than yours is right now. And it's really important to understand that because I can show you how I got through it and how mindset was a really important factor. Then I'm going to show you the only 3 things that separate the rich from the poor. So, there's all of these myths like rich people, it's just because their families, they inherited money or they got lucky, or all of these different things. There's all of these, things that are just false about why rich people are rich and why poor people are poor. So I'm going to show you the only 3 things that separate them, and I'm going to show you how to solve these. And then I'm going to introduce you to a powerful concept I have called the mirror, and my other big discoveries about life. So I'm going to tell you about what I discovered about life and about myself that throughout my journey in entrepreneurship, which is going to help you and serve you a lot. Then we're going to talk about planning your dream life from the big picture all the way down to the daily action items. So like I said, you need to have a plan, and I'm going to show you the correct way to construct your plan and navigate your way over the course of this program and over the course of the next few years. And then I'm going to show you how your beliefs are formed and how to override them. So a lot of people have all of these different beliefs about all of these different things, and they're just wrong. And those beliefs are limiting you and holding you back. And I'm going to show you how to identify beliefs that are just wrong and how to override them with correct ones that are going to serve you. And then finally, I'm going to give you some action items so that you can immediately start working on your mindset and you can start improving things for yourself. And I'm also going to introduce you to a little routine which I have called the Mindset Routine. And this is a routine which I do every morning and every night, first thing when I wake up and last thing I do before I go to sleep. And this little routine is responsible for a significant amount of my success, if not all of my success. And I'm just going to really pull back the curtain in this training and show you everything I do when it comes to mindset. And, I thought long and hard about creating this training. I was like, it's a bit revealing. Like, I talk about a lot of things which are personal about me and which I do, and I just thought, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to share exactly with everyone in this program exactly what I do and how things work. And so I'm sure this is going to be immensely valuable for you guys. So let's get started. So first of all, I want to dispel the most widely spread myth in the world today. And this is that successful people, a lot of people say that people are successful and because of these reasons. They say, oh, they're a natural. They were a natural at accounting, or they're a natural at being, good with money, or they're a natural at maths, or they're a natural at this. It's a saying everyone uses. And it's a saying which just quickly gives the person a reason to justify why that person is better off than them. If they just say, oh, they're a natural, it gives that person some sort of satisfaction. It allows them to return back to their comfort zone and not feel challenged. So that's why everyone has these kind of canned responses. Another one is they're born with it. Oh, he was just born with it, or she was born with it. They're a natural. And they're lucky. They were in the right place at the right time, or they were just lucky, or it was a fluke, or they've got good luck. This is what a lot of people say about successful people and people who are wealthy. They just say all of these different things, and why people say that is it's an easy way for them to live with their current situation. But the truth is, all of this stuff is just flat out wrong. And everybody is born the same way. We are all born the same way. We all have the same beginning in this life. No one gets any head starts when they are born. And I had to develop literally everything. So a lot of people, they look at successful people and they think, oh, he has all of these qualities which I don't. Like he's confident, he's good at speaking, he's good at writing, or he's good at maths, or he's good at business, or he's good at all of these different things. A lot of people think that. And they're like, well, I can't do that because I'm not good at those things. Well, everyone was born the same way. Like, I was not good at anything when I got started. And I had to develop every skill that I have. So if you're looking at me today and you're thinking, well, Sam's good at this or good at that. Truth is I wasn't. I had to develop the skill. And so I want to tell you really how bad things were when I got started. So I'm an introvert. I still am today. But I used to be a lot worse. And it's very hard for me to get out into social situations and things like that. And at school, it was especially bad. And when I started my business, it was especially bad. And I used to be so afraid of public speaking that I would eat a bar of soap and make myself sick just to avoid speech day at school. So I did this pretty much every year just to avoid public speaking. These are the extremes I went to avoid things like this. So I wasn't good at speaking. I didn't like talking to people, and I hated, being in the spotlight and being in front of people. And this is the extremes I went to. And then, I pretty much failed everything throughout school and college and didn't think I was capable of anything, and neither did anyone else. Like, no teachers thought I was good, none of my friends or students thought I was really smart, or even just generally smart. I think everyone thought that I was an underachiever. And even my parents, they would always wonder, like, why can't he do all of this stuff? So I had no head starts academically or intellectually or anything like that. And I even considered going to work on my grandparents' farm because I didn't believe in myself at all. And I was like, well, at least if I go there, I'll just learn how to, milk the cows and do things like that, and I'll be able to make an income, and it's cheap to live out there in the country. So when I didn't come from being confident or smart or intellectual or academic or anything like that. And I started out completely uneasy in social situations, awkward and bad at school subjects, not outgoing at all, and had very little, if any, belief in myself at all. And why I'm telling you this is to show you that, I had no head starts. No one gave me any money. No one gave me any connections, which were helpful. I had no network. No one I knew was even in business. Everyone I knew was in blue-collar jobs, and my mum's a special needs teacher, my dad's a builder, and I was in a small suburb in New Zealand. So I had no head starts and nothing going for me at all, and no money to help me along the way. And yet here I am today, a multi-cash millionaire. So how did that happen? And what I mean by multi-cash millionaires, a lot of people say that they're seven figures and all of this, but that might mean that their revenues are seven figures. But, I'm talking real cash, millionaire in liquid funds, which is very rare in this industry. So how did I do it? How did I make that transformation, and how did I do it so quickly? Well, it comes down to three key things, and this is what they are. Now, the only three things you need for success is a plan, a specialized knowledge, and the correct mindset. So a plan is, exactly, knowing what you're going to do over the next month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Specialized knowledge is special knowledge about a particular topic. So focused, concentrated knowledge that you have that others do not. And mindset is the way that you think and the beliefs you have about yourself and the way the world works and things like that. And it's how you keep yourself in the zone, you keep yourself sharp and motivated and at peak performance at all times. Now, these are the only three things you need. You find me someone with a plan, specialized knowledge, and the right mindset who isn't rich. Like, you can't. No one has all three of these things who isn't successful. Some people have a plan only, some people have specialized knowledge only, some people have mindset only. You can have any one of these things, you can even have any two of these things, but you need all three to actually be successful. And I don't know a single person in this world who has three and isn't rich. So these are the only three things that you need. Now, let's cover each one. A plan. So most people have absolutely no idea what they want. And if you don't believe me, just go ask somebody where they want to be in 1 year or in 5 years and see for yourself. It's amazing. I was always quite a curious person, and I always ask lots of questions. And I'd always ask my family and my sisters and my friends, and I always wondered why no one knew what they wanted. And most people are like this. I'd go as far as saying 95, 98%, it's maybe even higher, they don't know what they want. And I know a plan. You're probably like, Sam, are you serious? You're telling us we need a plan? Well, yeah, I'm deadly serious. Often the things that are most important to your success, they're never complex things that are hiding in details. They're always the most simple things which are just always underneath your nose. And this is one of them. So you need a plan. And not having a plan is like showing up at the airport without a ticket. You could end up anywhere, but one thing's for sure is that you're not going to end up where you want to be. You could end up anywhere in the world. And that's what most people are doing. They're just living each day without knowing what they want. And when you do that, you're just going to become conscious one day and think, shit, this isn't where I want to be. Now what do I do? And you don't want to do that. So that's why you have a plan. And while it sounds almost too simple to be true, a plan is one of the most important, if not the most important things that you can have in your life and in your business. And I'm going to show you how to create your perfect plan soon in this training video. I'm going to show you how I construct my plans and how you can construct your plan too. Now, number 2 is specialized knowledge. Now, the only thing which separates the rich from the poor is specialized knowledge. It's not anything else. The truth is that they know something which you and everybody else doesn't know, and they're applying that knowledge to make themselves rich. What do I know that other people don't? Well, I have a lot of specialized knowledge on the topic of consulting, probably the best in the world at it. So that's what separates me. That's how I'm able to make large amounts of money, because I have specialized knowledge on a particular topic. And most people think that things come down to chance or luck, and that someone gets wealthy because they're lucky, or that somebody is just born with it. And nothing could be more further from the truth. It's all specialized knowledge which they had to learn for themselves, and everybody is born the same. Do you think Warren Buffett was born, an investing genius? No. Do you think Carl Icahn was born knowing how to raid companies and be an activist? No. No one was born with any of this stuff. They had to go out and get it for themselves. I had to go out and get this specialized knowledge for myself, and so does everybody else. Now, specialized knowledge is typically extremely hard to find. You have to go out and you have to look at all different sources. You have to look at books, you have to look at movies, documentaries, the news, all of these different companies. You have to analyze decades of history to see the trends and the markers and things like that. And I've gone out and done that for the consulting industry. And I've done so many thousands of hours, it's not even funny, of studying every single piece of information I could possibly study for the consulting market. And I've even gone to the extreme of hiring research assistants to research things for me too. So the hours are very high. Now, why this is awesome for you to be in this program is because you get my specialized knowledge. I'm in this program, I'm taking my specialized knowledge and I'm boiling it down to my absolute best stuff, and I'm just providing it to you here in this training program. So you get a massive head start. You are still going to have to learn a couple of things for yourself, but you are by no means going to have to start from scratch. And from just having this training alone, you're already going to be further ahead than everyone else in your market. And I truly mean that. And without trying to hype this up with any attempt, this training is the best in the world for starting your consulting business. And if you learn what I show you here, you have specialized knowledge covered. So that's the awesome thing about specialized knowledge and being in this program. If you didn't have this program and you wanted to start your own consulting business, it's a lot of work. You could do it, but it'll make you cry how much work it is. But with this program, you take a big shortcut. And the third and final one is your mindset. And your mindset is your ability to control your emotions and stay in your peak state of operation. Now, I'm sure sometimes you've noticed you've been working and you're just in the zone, like things flow. You can write well, you speak well, you get along with people, and you're just in a really awesome state. And then somehow you're out of that state and it's a struggle. And it's constantly a battle for you to get back into that state, and sometimes you're only in that peak state for a day, or maybe it's only a few hours of one day in a week. That's what most people are like, and it's because their mindset isn't set up correctly. When I first got started in business, man, I had to warm up before I could start my day of work. I had to wake up, I procrastinated so much. I'd do all of these different things, and then I'd go for a drive, and then I'd convince myself that I needed a coffee, and all of these different things before I could face my day. And I was trying to control my nerves and trying to control everything so that I could concentrate. And then even when I got into the office, it took me forever to get into my state. And really, while I was I had lots of time to put into my business, I wasn't able to put much time in at all because I wasn't in my peak state. And having a sharp mindset allows you to just turn it on and turn it off like it's a button. And that's what I can do now. I can work for 18 hours a day, day after day, for years on end at my absolute peak state of performance if I want to. Like, I can turn it on and I can turn it off, and I can get it done. And I can also control all of my nerves and feelings and things like that. I can go up and talk in front of 5,000 people if I want to. Like, I can turn it on, and I can turn on like an extroverted personality if I'm doing a sales call or things like that. I've just learned how to control my emotions and learn how to do all of these things. And I didn't know how to do any of this, but I developed it. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do here with working on your mindset. And your mindset is how you motivate yourself to do what you need to do and get outside of your comfort zone on a daily basis. So in entrepreneurship, you need to get outside of your comfort zone. That's where the magic happens. And if you can't get there, you need to work on your mindset. And your mindset is basically made up of a lifelong collection of experiences, beliefs, judgments, and understandings of how things in the universe interact and give meaning. It's basically your belief system and your comprehension mechanism in your brain which you use to operate and walk through and experience the world. And it's very important that it's set up the right way. If you have the wrong mindset, it'll sabotage you at every turn, and if you have the right one, it will serve you immensely. So if you know what you need to do, but you have a track record of not doing it, and if you have a track record of procrastinating and being drawn to new shiny things and just flat out not performing at your peak state, then you have a mindset issue and you need to fix it. And that's what I'm going to show you in this training video. And don't think that mindset is some weird woo-woo like taboo topic. It's a lot of people think that, and I thought that a little bit when I got started. I was like, oh, this isn't real stuff. This doesn't work. And you know what? I wish I'd never put it off. When I started working on this stuff, everything shifted for me, and I'm sure it will help you too. So my big discoveries about life and business. Throughout my journey, I've learned a lot of things about myself and about life and about people and humans as a species, really, and I want to tell you some things which have served me immensely. So the first one, this observation is very powerful, is that people don't have business problems. They have life problems that reflect in their business. So what I mean by this is if someone has a problem with their business, it's most of the time it's a personal issue that they have that's just reflecting itself in their business. If someone's not committed, that non-commitment will be showing up other areas in their life. And, one of my mentors told me that, if you're ever going to hire someone, make sure that you get them to park their car or somewhere where you can walk out and take a look at how they keep it. Is it clean inside, and is it cleaned on the outside and things like that? Because he said you can tell a lot about a person by seeing how they do that. And, that's very true. Like, that's just one example, but generally, you can tell the way someone does one thing is how they do everything. And if someone doesn't have everything together in one area of their life, I can almost guarantee you that it is reflecting through the rest of their life in all sorts of different ways. And if they have a business, it most certainly will be present in their business. So this is an important lesson that I learned. And I call this the mirror. And why I call it the mirror is having a business is basically just like pulling a mirror up and pointing it at your face and just looking at yourself dead on, straight in the eyes. And what the mirror does is it just reflects everything back at you. So whatever you practice and whatever you believe and however you conduct yourself as a human, that is going to just reflect into your business. And there's no cheating the mirror. It's not like you can misbehave in the real world and then not think it's going to show up in the mirror. You can't trick it. If you do something bad and if you think the wrong way, it'll reflect in your business. I can guarantee it. There's just no fooling it. And here's how the mirror works. So your fears and your judgments are only an outward reflection of yourself and how you think and behave. This is really powerful. And I learned this. I only learned this really recently, like about a year ago, and it's very powerful. So people who make judgments about other people, those are often the same judgments they make about themselves in their mind. And this is really powerful. And when you learn this, you'll learn never to judge people ever, because what you're really doing is giving people who understand this insight that that's the issue that you have with yourself. So often if people attack people about not being attractive or having bad fashion sense or all of these other things, it's because they feel that way about themselves and they judge themselves that way. And so you've got to be very careful about judging other people and about what you say and things like that. And I think all of us, well, I don't want to assume that, certainly me, I used to judge a lot of people. I didn't say anything about it, but I just held judgments in my imagination. And what that meant is when I tried to do things for myself in business, I was always scared that other people were going to judge me. And there's no way to free yourself from the fear of judgment unless you stop judging other people yourself. And this is a very a good example of the mirror and how it works. So in order for me to take action in my business and not care what other people think, there was nothing I could possibly do business side. This was an area I had to clean up in my own personal life. And so I had to stop that, and when I stopped it there, it stopped in my business. And this is a good example. Another example is, if you don't invest in yourself, others will not invest in you. So if someone's too stingy to invest in education and in doing online programs and things like that, they're not going to be able to get anyone else to invest in them. Because what's happening is, when you invest in yourself, you're proving it to yourself that what you are doing is possible. And it's like when one person the first time someone sets a world record, immediately after that, like a ton of people set the world record too. And it's because someone proves that it's possible to the other people. And this is what you're doing to your belief system by investing in yourself. So if you invest $1,000 in yourself, you're doing that transaction, you're proving to yourself that it's possible because you did it. Now you have the confidence to go out and ask other people to do the same because you know that it can be done. And this is fascinating, because it's not only if you don't invest in yourself, others won't invest in you, it's the level at which you invest. So you'll find that people who have $200 programs or $29 programs, you'll find that the most money they ever invested in themselves was $29 or $200. And people who have pricing that's $1,000, they only invested $1,000. It's amazing to witness. And why this is important is because you need to invest in yourself at the level you want others to invest in you. So congratulations by investing in this training program. By doing that, you've proven to yourself that others will invest in you too. And so you made the right move in doing that. Now, another one is, if you like to think about it when making a buying decision, you'll have others do the exact same thing to you. So I always used to want to think about it. It didn't matter what it was. Even if I wanted the thing, I would want to think about it. I'd want to take the decision away and mull it over for like days. I don't know why. That's how my belief system was. And so even if I met with a gym person to see about signing up for a gym, and they said, well, do you want to sign up now? I couldn't make the decision. I had to go away and think about it at home. And it was my belief system. And then when I came to start my consulting business, because my belief system was that way, everyone wanted to think about it, all of my clients. And why this was is because I didn't even know it was possible for someone to make a decision on the spot. I didn't think anyone did that because I didn't do that. So I was self-sabotaging in all of my consultations. And what happened is, towards the end of my consultation, I would say, okay, well, it's been a good conversation here. Why don't you guys go away and think about it and then let me know what you want to do? And I was telling them what to do. I was telling them to go and think about it. And that's just because that's the way I thought things were done. And then when I wondered, why does everyone want to think about it? And I thought, well, I've got to think about the mirror. And it's because that's the way I do things. So I thought, I'm going to clean this up in my personal life too. From now on, I'm going to leave no decision in the gray area, and everything's going to be binary and an immediate yes or no. So when I'm faced with a decision, I make an immediate decision. Not immediate like in the second, but I will make a decision like on the call, or I'll make a decision very quickly. It's a personal rule for myself. My apartment in New York, it's worth a lot of money. It's worth more than $5.5 million. And when I was speaking to the agent, he was showing me the home through FaceTime on his phone, because I was back in New Zealand, and he was showing me it in New York, and he said, well, what do you want to do? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I want to, this is a big decision. I need to think about it. But I was like, no, I can't break my rule. So I said, I'll take it, done. And everything has become, all of my decisions now are made like that. It doesn't matter how big or small, I will make an immediate decision. And so I adopted that behavior in my own personal life, and then guess what started to happen in my business almost immediately? Others started making decisions immediately too. On my strategy sessions, people started buying and making the decision. And so that's another instance of the mirror. So if you want your prospects and clients to buy, make sure that you clean up everything in your life that's in the gray area. You're probably right now ignoring emails from different people. You're probably ignoring phone calls and texts from people, and you're probably ignoring all of these different letters and things that are sent to you, and you're just trying to sweep them under the rug and think that they'll go away, and that's what most people do. And if you have that breach in your life, you're going to have that breach in your business, and guess what? Your clients are going to start to do that stuff to you too. So if you don't want that stuff showing up in your business, you can't have it showing up in your personal life, so go clean it up. Go reply to everyone. Give them a clear yes or a clear no. Start fixing everything. You can't have any breaches. And if you are rude to your vendors when you buy from them, you will attract the same from your own clients. So what I noticed is that people who are rude to people when they buy, or people who ask for discounts, the discounts one is amazing. So people who are always like, oh, can I get a discount, or can I do this or do that? Well, guess what? All their clients are going to be asking them for discounts. The person who wants to split the payments up over 4 months or 12 months, guess what their clients are going to do? Split it up. The person who's rude when they buy, what sort of clients are they going to attract? Rude ones. And even the people who ask for refunds. The people who ask for refunds, all their clients are asking them for refunds. You're just inviting this behavior into your life and into your business if you do it yourself. So you've got to adopt all of this stuff. Become an excellent customer if you want to get clients who treat you well. You have to behave like the customer you want to attract. And there's no way to cheat this mirror, no way in hell. You can't just do one thing in your personal life and not expect it to flow over. It will, and it will come around and smack you in the face and knock you down when you least expect it. So you've got to clean this stuff up. And I can tell you that people who struggle to get their marketplace and clients to treat them well and invest in them are people who do the exact same thing to others. So this is so important, and I really want you guys to understand this and make a decision right now that you're going to start behaving the way that you want your clients to behave with you. And in one simple sentence, you must become the client that you want to attract. So think about the clients you want in your business and in your life, and you think about how you want them to treat you. That's how you have to behave yourself. So make quick decisions. Treat people well. Don't hassle people for discounts. Try to pay up front when possible, and become an awesome client. And then give people testimonials, give people referrals, and pay your vendors on time. The people who don't pay their bills on time, none of their clients are going to be paying their bills on time. You're just inviting it into your life, and you really do not want to do that. So become the client you want to attract. Be decisive. Never think about it again. Make a clear-cut yes or no. And having things in limbo takes a massive emotional toll on you. When I had everything in my life in a gray area, I couldn't make any decisions. I was so worn out because that gray area, believe it or not, it's taking a massive toll on you. Every day those things are whirling around in your mind, and they're taking up brain power, they're taking up all sorts of space in your head. And you need to give them a clear-cut yes or no, because then it will just get out of your head and you've got lots of space to work on other things. Pay your vendors on time and make them think that you're their best client. And tip well and be generous, give people testimonials, say thank you, It's all very powerful. Now, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I've already told you that, and this really drives back that point. To give you some examples from my personal life, when I was unhealthy as a person, my business was unhealthy. So when my financials weren't clean, when all sorts of things weren't clean in my business, when email was overflowing, when everything was overwhelming and out of control early on when I started my business, guess what my personal life was like? It was just like that. I would, drink Red Bull and lots of Diet Coke. I'd stay up all night. I'd sleep in. I'd eat bad food, and I was overweight, and I certainly was not healthy and taking care of myself. And so, I was thinking about the mirror. I was like, well, if I got to get my business healthy, I got to get my mind and body healthy. And that's another example. And commitment is another one. If you want to be committed to your business, you've got to look where, if you're not committed to spending time on your business, well, look where else in your life that non-commitment is showing up. Because if you're not being committed to taking action in your business, you're not being committed somewhere else. That might be with going to bed at the same time, it might be waking up in the morning, it might be going to the gym. There will be breaches of commitment reflecting in other areas of your life if you can't get committed in your business. Very powerful stuff. So if you have consistency issues, look in other places where they might be. An unhealthy business typically means unhealthy body. Sleep well, exercise, and groom and present yourself immaculately every day. I used to just wear sweatpants and didn't even bother having a shower in the morning, and just had scruffy hair and stuff when I worked, and that affected the way I worked. I worked like it wasn't serious. And then I started, even though sometimes no one would see me, I still got changed into good clothes and groomed well and everything, and it changed the way I showed up to work. And what you want to do when you understand that how you do one thing is how you do everything, it makes you want to commit to excellence in all areas of your life. And this is the belief and the practice that I adopted. And when I did, my business just blew out of the water and made insane profits. And I took this to the nth degree. I watched everything I ate. I stopped going out late. I stopped drinking alcohol. I started treating my relationship properly and making sure I was being a good boyfriend and things like that. I started looking after my health, and I started treating my vendors well. I cleaned up all grey areas of my life. I really had to clean up everything in order to get massive success. And it's possible to get small success without this, but like I said, it's like driving down the street with your handbrake on. You can do it, but it's not good for the vehicle, and it won't last for long and before something breaks. And it's the same in business. You can go slow and you can make some progress, but it's going to be hard, and eventually it's going to fall over, and you're going to break down your body just like you break down your braking system. But if you get your mindset set up right, if you adopt this, it's just like driving down the freeway with no brakes on, you just free flowing. And that's what life's like now. So very important to do this stuff. And another massive lesson I had in life is to live in what I call day-tight compartments. And what I mean by this is there's 3 different areas where someone can be living in. One is the past. So a lot of people spend a lot of their time living in the past. They're thinking about the past, they're imagining things that happened in the past, and what they said in the past, what they did in the past, what other people said about them in the past. That's one area where you can live. Another area where you can live is the future. So thinking about what might happen in a week, in a year, in a month, all this different stuff. And that's the future. And the other place you can live is right now. And so there's really 3 different places you can live. And when I was getting started in business, I lived a lot in the future. I was like 99% in the future. Most of my day was spent worrying about the future. And a lot of other people, they spend a lot of their time in the past. And you can't get anything done in any of these areas. You've got to be in the now, and that's what I mean by day-tight compartments. So no thought of the past. It doesn't matter. I don't care where you've come from, what you've done, or anything. Hell, I don't even care if you have a Harvard MBA and you've got like a Nobel Prize. It, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is right now. So it doesn't matter what your past is. The only thing that matters is now. And so have no thought for the past and have no thought for the future. No one cares about either, and the only thing that matters is now. So that's one thing you want to do. And if you go into your past, you'll be depressed. And people who live in their past, they are depressed. And everyone's saying that, depression is on the rise and depression is, a bad thing, and they're trying to give all of these people medication and all of this stuff. And at one point, even I was on this crap, and the doctors put me on it. And it's just handed out like candy these days. Now the truth is that these people are mostly living in the past. Like they're replaying these bad scenarios in their head, and they're getting themselves down, and they just can't get out of it and get into the present situation. So if you live in your past, you're depressed. Then if you go into your future, you've got anxiety and overwhelm. So if you play that movie of the future, you're looking at all these different possibilities, what might happen here, and you get anxious, and you're like, you feel uneasy. Or you just get overwhelmed because you're like, oh my God, there's so much to do and there's so much to think about. So there's no way you win in either one of these areas. So only think about today. It's the only thing you want to think about. And you want to live in day-tight compartments. And when I started making massive progress in my business, it's when I adopted the attitude of, what can I do today to get myself ahead? So I thought, what can I do today to get a client and make some money? That's what I thought every day. And when I did this, everything changed. And you want to adopt the same thinking as well. Now let's talk about creating your dream and becoming disgustingly committed and relentless to achieve that dream, because this is important. Starting a business, you've got to do some things which you don't like doing. You've got to get outside of your comfort zone. And without a dream and without being real committed, you're just not going to be able to make it happen. So let's talk about how to become disgustingly committed and relentless. And whenever I get into a rut or a plateau, it's because I lose sight of my vision and my dream. So if I look back over the course of my life and in business, there's been times where I've plateaued, or there's been times where I've been down and it's hard to get out of bed or do anything. And when that happens, it's because I lose sight of, what I want and my vision and what I'm doing. And so if you've had motivation issues, or if you can't get motivated, it's most probably because you don't have a clear vision and dream. So here are the different stages of commitment in achieving your dream. So it all starts by having a dream and thinking about what you want, big picture. Like, where do I want to be 30 years, 20 years, 10 years? Like, think about what you want and just dream about it at a high level. Then you've got to take that and then define it clearly. So how would you clearly define what it is that you want to achieve? Put it into some words, make it clearer. Where will you be living? Like in your dream, where are you living? And by defining it, I mean look up the place, find the address, find out how much it costs, write it down. Like, get super clear on this. What will you look like? Things like that. Where will you be living? Who will you be living with? Get real clear on it. Then declare. Declaring it is when you tell other people who are important to you that this is what you're going to do. So a lot of people have dreams, but none of them tell other people. And this makes it a fantasy. If you tell other people, it gets real all of a sudden. And so what I do is I tell people what I'm going to do. I tell my parents, I tell my friends, I tell my girlfriend, and I sometimes declare it to my entire email list and on social media exactly what I'm going to do. And this puts me this makes my dream all that much more real, and it puts me on the hook to perform, because I don't want to look like an idiot for saying I'm going to do something and then not following through. So when I decided I wanted to move to New York and I wanted to get this apartment, I posted it on Facebook, and I told all of my customers, and I hadn't even looked in the ins and outs of it. I didn't know if I could get a visa. I didn't know if it was even possible. But I declared it, and guess what happened? It got done. Then you've got to decide. So decide on exactly what you need to do, and then decide that you're going to do it, and then design it. Like, how is it going to look? If you're going to be creating a business, like, design the plan for the business. Like, is anyone else going to work with you? How many hours a day are you going to work? Where are you going to work? Like, just design it. Start putting details into the picture. And then you've got your daily actions. So at this level, we've taken where you want to be in 30 years, 10, 20 years. We've broken it all the way down to like 1 year. And now you're looking at, what do you need to do each day to make this dream a reality? Like, what things do you need to execute on each day? And then the last step is to deliver. So that is how you take something from a dream all the way through to doing it and making it happen. You've got to go through these different stages. And let's map this out right now. There's this worksheet which I like to complete, and it's called Designing Your Dream Life. And a lot of people might think, oh, this is weird, or this is bullshit, Sam, or whatever. And you can believe whatever you want, and I thought this way when I did my first mindset work. I remember I was in my garage in New Zealand, and I was writing this stuff down, and I felt like the biggest douche ever. It was like writing things which I wanted, and I'd write down things like, I want to have an apartment in Parnell, and I was like, who am I kidding? Like, I'm in a garage now. How am I going to get an apartment in Parnell, which is back in New Zealand, in this cool suburb? And I was like, oh, screw it, I'll write it down anyway. But I was like, as if that'll ever happen. And then I was like, what would I want in my apartment? And I was like, well, I'd like some, designer furniture and stuff. And then I was like, what car do I want? And I was like, oh, I put down a Ferrari F355, which is still one of my favorite cars. And I was like, that's so dumb that I put that down there. I was like, as if I'm going to get a Ferrari. And, I kept writing down these different things that I wanted in my dream, and it felt real douchey when I did it. And it didn't really hit me in the face. And until one day, my girlfriend found the piece of paper that I wrote all of this stuff on. And she found it. It was inside a pillowcase, because I used to read it before I went to bed and when I woke up, and I'd just put it in the pillowcase. And, I'd lost it or something, and then she found it. And it was in January, and so it was 12 months after I created the list, and it was the most spooky thing I ever read, because I had everything on the list. I was living in Parnell, and I had designer furniture and art and all of this stuff. I was in the exact apartment which I had dreamed of, and I had a Ferrari 355, and I had all of the other things which I said, and it was pretty damn spooky. And from that point on, I was like, well, even if this feels weird, I'm going to make sure I do it, because just in the off chance that it happens, it's worth doing this for. And guess what's happened? Year after year after year, whatever I put on that list happens. And recently, last year in 2015, and I can show you this right now. I created this last year in 2015, and I thought I was really pushing it. I was like, I wrote down Sam Ovens lives in New York City in an amazing apartment with a view over Manhattan with his girlfriend Ashley Fraser, and Sam makes $5 million with his business, and Sam is known as the go-to person in the consulting industry. So I did this a year ago, and what's spooky again is I'm in Manhattan. I've got an amazing view of the city, and what's really scary is when I wrote down 5 million, I was like, dude, this is really pushing it. Well, we're in May right now, and I've done more than this already this year. So not only am I going to hit this goal, I've already surpassed it, and we're not even 5 months into the year. So you don't risk not doing this just because you think it's weird or anything, because I have now a 5-year track record of this shit happening for me, and you can fluke 1 year, but you can't fluke 5. And all of my successful students, when I talk to them and I'm like, what do you guys think in the training really like stood out for you? And they were like, Sam, honestly, like it's cool to talk about Facebook ads and all of that stuff, but the thing that really moved everything for me was what you said about mindset. And I was like, whoa, because I probably only put that in there by accident. And so this time around, I decided, well, I'm going to go all out on mindset and really share a lot of it with you, because that's what everyone said really made a difference for them. And I've got a 5-year track record of it working for me. So do it for yourself. Now, here's our first worksheet, Designing Your Dream Life Worksheet. So step 1, what is your dream? What do you want? Make this as detailed as possible, and you want to keep coming back to this each day to build on it. You don't just come up with your dream and then freeze it. You come up with your dream and it's a working document. You add a bit, you change a bit, and things get more detail. And it's what you really need to make things become a reality is you need to be able to see them inside your head in detail. And once you see an image inside your head, it's amazing how the universe conspires with you to create it. I've never gotten anything in life until I could see it. And I've had to really get to the point where I can imagine it so clearly that it's almost like I have it and then it happens. So this is why you want to do this. And this is why you want to find the exact place you want to live, define the exact number you want to make with your business, like put the details in. What's your dream? Then define your dream. Make it as clear as possible. Where do you want to live? What do you want to do each day? What will your work schedule be like? Where will you live? This sort of stuff. And then step 3, declare your dream to those who care. Tell your wife, tell your husband or partner, share them, share the vision with them. And the more people you tell, and the more serious you are when you tell them, and the more people you get involved, the more pressure you're putting on yourself to perform. And one thing I learned about human beings, which is true, and you can look this up, I didn't make it up, this is a real study of human beings. Human beings will do more to not look bad in front of other people than they will do to improve themselves. So a person left up to just impressing themselves will often not perform. But if you put someone on the hook with other people, and if they look bad, if they don't perform, that human's going to dance. And so this is why it's important to tell other people. If you just keep it to yourself, it's too easy to just let it go. It's too easy to sleep in. You've got to get other people involved. Now decide what you are going to do. What is your business? What is your product or service? So at this point, we're in week 2 of the training. In week 1, we set up the foundations. So by now you should know your niche. You should know what your offer is. You should know what the transformation is that you're going to help your clients make. You can start to really decide what you're going to do and write it down, make it detailed. Then step 5 is to design your entire business. Map out the processes involved, the different price points. How many clients do you need each month? If you want to be at 100K at the end of the year, well, how many clients are you going to need? How much are you going to have to charge? How many clients do you need to get each month so that you hit that goal by the end of the year? And to get that many clients each month, how many strategy sessions do you need to do? Get super clear on this stuff. Most people don't have a plan, and then most people who do have a plan, they don't break it down. They don't make it real. If you don't make your plan real, it won't become real. So spend the time to do this. Trust me, it will pay back big time. It'll pay dividends hugely, and I've got the evidence to prove it. So step 6 is daily actions. Now you want to take the big picture, which we've designed, and break it down into this current year. So to start on this big picture dream, what do you need to do in the next 12 months? Then break it down into the first 6 months, then in the first 3 months, first 1 month, and then what do you need to do each week, then what do you need to do each day. Really break it down, turn it into daily actions. And you don't need to plan daily actions for 12 months. That's insane. You only need to plan daily actions for 7 days ahead. You want to plan out the months, though. You just want to write, 2 or 3 big things you're going to do each month for the rest of the 12 months. But you only need to plan daily actions 7 days ahead. So I encourage you to do that right now. And then the last stage is to deliver. And all delivering is waking up each morning, pulling out this sheet and looking at what you need to do and then doing it. Most people, they wake up in the morning and they walk over to their laptop and they open it up and they're like, what should I do today? And if you start your day that way, you're going to become a part of someone else's plan. I learned that if you don't have a plan in life, then you're going to become a part of someone else's plan. And if you don't have a plan for your day, you're going to become a part of someone else's plan for their day. So if you open up your laptop and you ain't got a plan, then you're going to get distracted by blogs, you're going to go into your email inbox, and then before you know it, it's like 6 p.m. and you haven't done anything. So create the daily actions and then have them visible on your desk so when you wake up, you see what you need to do and you execute on it. And it's your time. Right now, if you've invested in this program, it's a calling and it's your time, and all you need to do is commit, do the work, execute on the daily actions, and get through it and achieve your dreams. Because, getting what you want in life is really just as simple as planning it out, making it detailed, telling it to people who matter, and then doing the work each day. It's simple, it's not up to chance. So what I want you to do is print this worksheet out and complete it. Don't skip it, unless you're comfortable rolling the dice on the future of your life and on your family's life, then do not complete this worksheet. Because I'm not just telling you that this thing is, it might work. Like in every instance I've done this, it's worked. And it's been what my successful students told me served them the most as well. So don't roll the dice on this one, do it. So that is mapping out your dream life. Now let's talk about your identity. And this is a different one, and this is something that I identified probably about a year ago. So this one was, one of my later discoveries about life and business, and this was very powerful, this one. And the thing about identities is that the person you are right now is not the person who's going to achieve these goals. So when you come up with your dreams and your goals, you're going to have a little bit of an identity crisis each day, because the person who you're talking about a year from now in your goals, who's achieving all of these different things, they're not the same person who you are right now. And every day when you go to work on it, there's going to be this disconnect, and it's like, two things clashing together. It doesn't feel like you, and you're having an identity crisis. And I had this all the time, and it was draining, and I noticed a whole bunch of other people having it too. And then I had this powerful insight which changed everything for me. So most entrepreneurs have identity issues when they try to do new things and become successful. So we need to create you a new identity. And no, I don't mean like actually go and get new documents and change your name and birth certificate and stuff like that. I don't mean that at all. I mean your identity of yourself and how you see yourself. So let's work on this one right now. And what I mean by this is, a lot of people, they have an identity, and a lot of people tell themselves, well, I'm not good at this. Or they tell themselves stories about how they're not good at math, or how they're not good with people. And what that does is, over the course of your life, and with others saying things and you saying things about yourself to yourself, you've turned yourself into an identity. and it's called a self-image. Everyone has this self-image of how they see themselves, and that's who they think they are as a person, and everyone has it. And when what you want to become and is different to who you are right now, then you're going to come up against big friction each day when you try to achieve it. And so this is why I like to complete this exercise. And so this is a worksheet available for download below this video. And what I want you to do is print it out and complete it. And what I call this one is the Mindset Goals and Identity Workbook. That's what it's called. You can download it below this video, and you can open it up in PowerPoint or in Keynote. You can probably use Google Docs to open it as well. And so here's the title page, and it just says year-to-year goals and mindset planning documents. And so you actually put in the right dates here. So you might say 2000X to 2000 or 2016 to 2017 goals, planning, and mindset documents. So we want to keep this document for 12 months. And it says instructions: keep this folder on hand at all times, read through it first thing in the morning and multiple times during the workday, and then read it again at nighttime before bed. And the practices contained in this document are incredibly powerful and can change your life. Do not forget about this. Now, the reason why I put this on here was to remind myself, because we all forget about everything. Like if you know something's important right now, in a week, you probably have forgotten it. So we need to write instructions for ourselves too, and keep this on hand at all times. And I created this document for myself when I noticed that I was having kind of identity issues, and I used it, and it's worked amazingly well for me. And then just randomly, I was telling some of my students about it on a call, and they were like, "Wow, dude, this is awesome. I want to try this too." And I was like, "All right, you can try it." And so they tried it, and they're like, "This is the most amazing thing ever. Like, I've been using it. I love it." And so I decided to include it in the training this time. And it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to share these things, because I talk about personal things about me and what I do, and I just figured, screw it. If I'm a little bit embarrassed for a bit, but it helps you guys, well, it's well worth it. So this is what I wrote about myself. I decided that I wanted to design my new identity. Like, I wanted to, if I wanted to make 5 million a year, and if I wanted to do all of these different things with my life, I knew that I'd have to be a different version of myself, because the person who I was not really the person who I wanted to be. And it was because of my character traits, it was because of the way I thought about myself, it was all sorts of things. And so I decided, well, I'm going to design the person who I want to be. And so I kind of wrote it out as like a movie character or something. And here's what I wrote. And I decided to just give you guys the real one I wrote. I'm guessing it might help you. It's a little bit embarrassing to share. But I said, Sam Ovens is a successful entrepreneur who helps consultants and coaches grow their businesses. Sam lives in New York City in an amazing apartment with a view over Manhattan with his photographer girlfriend, Ashley Fraser. Sam makes $5 million in revenues with his business and makes $4 million in net profit. Sam works on his consulting business 4 days per week and invests his earnings on the other day as well as in the weekend. And Sam is known as the go-to person in the consulting industry and gets his clients awesome results. In his spare time, Sam reads, listens to music, and manages his investments. So just a quick high-level view of, if you were writing about yourself, like, where would you be, to be where you want to be in a year? What's that going to look like? And trust me, it's uncomfortable to write this stuff. You feel real weird, but thank God I read it, because this is what I have now. I actually have surpassed these goals already, so it's well worth it despite how uncomfortable or weird you think this is. And if you think it's just me, well, query it with some of my students. Andrew Argue, I've helped him get into the millions. Ask him. He'll tell you this is the best thing he ever did. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. I wouldn't get you guys to sit through this if it wasn't hugely important. The next thing I did was I knew that I needed different character traits to be successful and get the results I wanted. I knew that I needed to be driven, punctual. I knew I needed to be smart and powerful and kind of give off a different persona of, of classy and things like that. Because I was a bit sloppy in my business. I wasn't really driven. I certainly wasn't punctual, and I was a bit sloppy. I hadn't cleaned up, my concepts and things like that, and I kind of gave a younger person kind of relaxed, chilled out, always scruffy attitude. And I knew if I wanted to play a bigger game, I had to clean things up. And so I designed these different character traits. So driven, Sam wakes up at 5 a.m. and is extremely driven. Punctual, Sam is early to every appointment and is known for being punctual. Smart, Sam is extremely smart and is known to be the leading person in consulting. I wrote here that I'm extremely smart. Do you know how weird it feels to write that down? But if you keep telling yourself that, and if you keep reading that every day, it's amazing. All of a sudden you start to think you are smart, and you start to become smart, and it's really quite incredible. And then powerful. Sam is confident and has a powerful presence. Classy. Sam presents himself well and is known for having style and class. And then I even took it as far as body type. I then sort of looked at the person I wanted to be, and I could kind of make out details of him. I was like, well, he kind of looks a little bit different. His haircut's more professional, he dresses well, and what shoes does he have, what watch, and I wanted to be skinnier than I currently was, and so I wrote 80 kgs, and at the time I wrote that I was 95, like I was overweight. And as I'm making this video for you guys right now, I'm 78, so it's pretty amazing. And this is exactly what I have. You'll notice whenever I record a video, I will have a white collared shirt on, I'll have slim fit pants, I'll have a sports jacket. A sports jacket is a jacket with checks on it. And I'll always wear brogue shoes, and I have a Rolex President. I'm 78 kgs, and this is how I grew myself. This is what my hair's like. I really took this to the nth degree, and I just designed who I wanted to be, and I designed the identity, and I grew into it. And it's really quite incredible, and I encourage you to do the same. So that's this identity page. And then what you want to do is grab some different kind of motivational images from around the internet. So I went around and on Google and I searched for apartments I liked and suits I liked and people who I found inspirational, like Warren Buffett and Carl Icahn, and different different things which I wanted, kind of like a vision board. And I just grabbed these images and I kind of dragged them onto a board like this. Very simple to do. You don't need to be techie or anything. And I created this, and then I kind of put the theme across the top, and I called this the Sam Ovens Identity. And that's what I did on this page. And you know what's amazing? See that apartment up the top left? That's my apartment. When I put it on this vision board, I was like, dude, don't kid yourself. That thing's damn expensive. $5.5 million, that's almost 10 million New Zealand dollars. I was like, no way. And as I'm recording this video, I'm sitting in it. So there you go. And then the next page is your vision and mission. So here you want to write your bigger vision, big picture. So here I wrote, Sam's vision is to become the best consultant trainer in the world and help people realize their core talent and leverage it to the fullest. The goal is to make $5 million per year in profit from consulting and then invest the money into stocks, LBOs, which are leveraged buyouts, and other investment plays. And the end goal is to write books, blog, mentor, and invest with a net worth of $100 million. So that was my vision when I wrote it down. And you know what's crazy right now? I know for an absolute fact, I know with 100% conviction that I will easily hit that goal. 100 million, I'll have it in the next few years. So when I wrote that down, I was like, there's no way in hell. But I can see it now. I can smell it. It's just around the corner. Then achievements. Accumulate a net worth of 100 million. Feature on the NBR rich list. We only need 50 million to get on that thing. and 50 million New Zealand, which is only like 30 million US, which I will easily have very soon. And own a Eurocopter, which is my favorite helicopter, and have a helicopter's license, have shares in or charter a private jet. I already have more than enough money to charter a jet, and I've done it multiple times. Publish a New York Times best-selling book. Feature on Forbes, Wall Street Journal, and other major business publications. I've already featured on those. So, you know, it's amazing when you write this stuff down. It seems far-fetched, but it happens. And you just have to believe in it, and you have to write it down. So when you're writing these things down, feel free to push yourself a bit and to really push it a bit. Because my only regret in doing this is that I didn't think big enough. Because everything that I've put there, even the wildest, farthest-fetched ones, I got. So push it. Then you want to come up with your mentors, and I recommend never having more than 3. If you have too many mentors, you get all confused, because sometimes people have different styles. They say one thing which might contradict another, and it's just confusing. You really should have only 3 mentors, and really you should only have 1 or 2, or 1, because then you can just focus on listening to them. So write down your mentors, and you know, if you want to be a consultant, then I recommend that I am your #1 mentor, and just stick to it. Just give yourself, the beauty of having a mentor is you give yourself permission to just not listen to anyone else. So when I used to listen to everything and read all the blogs and I was on the email lists of all of these different gurus that'd always be shouting all of this different stuff, and I just so overwhelmed. I was like, what the hell do I do? They're all saying different things. And then I got one mentor, and that gave me permission to just unsubscribe from all the other lists, just not listen to anyone else. I didn't even care if people were saying this was working for them or that was working for them. I just followed one thing, and that worked for me. And I recommend you do the same. You know, I can help you grow your consulting business well into the millions. So I recommend just have one mentor, just listen to one person. And then your branding, like how do you want to be perceived from other people? So, you know, I liked the Bentley font for my logo, so that's what it was. I liked New York City because it had power and it was recognizable and it was about, you know, building wealth and investing, and so I chose that city and I incorporated in a lot of my marketing. And then you'll notice whenever I do videos, I sit on the front of my desk. And I do that because that's what Barack Obama did in a video I watched. I was like, well, where can I look to find things that represent power, which I can imitate in my business? And so I started looking at what the president did. And I looked at how he laid out his office and how he sat and on it and how he presented himself. And I was like, I'm going to borrow some of these things for my business. And so then I thought, well, you know, I also want my brand, I want there to be something recognizable about my brand and my business, so I put a motorbike in my office because I was like, that's different. Like, people will remember that. They'll be like, who is that Sam Ovens guy? Always that guy who started a consulting business from New Zealand and he worked out of his garage, and then he moved to New York in this big apartment with a view, and he sits on his desk and he has like a motorbike and he talks about consulting. I was like, damn, if I could create that image, like, that's unique, and it's a good story, and it's recognizable. And so I thought about it, and I wrote all of the stuff down, and then I went out and executed on it. So, you know, don't copy this stuff, because that's just silly. You have to come up with this stuff for yourself. It has to work for you. It has to work for your personality. And then think, when you do photos and videos, like, what's the image that you're going to build for yourself? Like, how are you going to present yourself? You're going to be a t-shirt person, or you're always going to be a suit and tie? Like, how's your hair going to be? Keep it consistent and think about what sort of image you're going to portray. Because a lot of branding in the consulting world is you as a person. So when you're a consultant, you are your brand. And so when you create your brand, you have to live that brand. And that's why it's powerful to do. So think how you want to be perceived by your clients, and then design that and execute on it. Very powerful. Then I had my goals. I had my 1-year goals and my 2-year goals. So you want to create your 12 months goals. And a good way to separate them is just into 4 categories of 5 items, with 5 items in each. And the first one is accumulated wealth goals. So how much are you going to save each year in cash? Are you going to have more equity in your home? Like, are you going to have more assets? Like, what accumulation of wealth do you want to achieve this year? And then you've got your business goals. So how many clients are you going to have? Are you going to have started your business? What's your revenue of your business? Are you going to have any staff to help you out? Put 5 goals there. Then health and fitness. So, are you going to be healthier? Are you going to be working out more? Write down 5. And I used to leave the bottom 2 out. Health goals and personal and behavior goals, I left them out. I was like, man, these don't matter. Only the business ones matter. And then I found that it affected me. I worked on my business and I didn't pay any attention to my personal life. And then my personal life reflected in my business and things got bad. And so you can't miss them out. You got to work on it all at all times. So, you got to look after your body, you got to look after your health, and you got to work on personal and behavior too. Like, you're going to become more reliable, more committed, you're going to become more routine. Write down the goals and spend some time to do this. It will pay dividends for life. And boy, oh boy, will it pay dividends compared to any other investment you can make. So if you're thinking, oh, this takes time, I don't want to do it, I'll just shortcut it, it won't matter. It'll matter. It'll pull a weight on your business like nothing else. But if you don't do this, it's just like shooting yourself in the foot and sabotaging your results big time. If you do this, you're going to leap ahead of the pack. So invest the time. So I did goals for the current year, and then I did goals for 3 years out, 1 year and 3 year goals. And so that's what I did. And so I recommend you take the time to complete this exercise. It has served me. Everything I've put on here has happened. And if you don't believe me, if you think, well, Sam probably just made this stuff up now as he showed us this, well, ask my clients about it. Ask my students. You can ask people a year ago, who have been in the group. Ask in the Facebook group. Be like, did Sam really create these goals and share them with you a year ago? And all of them are going to tell you yes. So I'm not making this up. There's real life living proof that I set these goals a year ago when they weren't really even seeming possible. And I'm living them right now. And I've had a track record of doing this for 5 years straight. So don't skip this exercise. So that's how we work on your own identity. Now I want to talk about limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? Well, limiting beliefs are personal acceptances that things are true or exist. So a belief is something that you have in your mind that a way of doing things is the correct way, or that if this is a fact and it's true, or something's wrong, or something doesn't exist, or it does exist. Those are beliefs, and everyone has beliefs about everything. And people always assume that their beliefs are true. There's them in the very nature of beliefs. That's why we call them beliefs. Otherwise, they wouldn't be called that. So the problem is that pretty much all beliefs people have about themselves, they're not true. So we know this about the human species. Just look back through history, and everything humans ever thought were true, it wasn't. The world's flat, and if you went sailing on a ship, you were going to fall off the edge. Everyone thought that. Wasn't the truth. People thought smoking was fine, and it was recommended by doctors. Not true. People thought all of these weird things. And, for years, people have been telling us that, breakfast is good for you, and now we're finding out that it's not. There's tons and tons and tons of things that, we've believed are true that aren't. And there are things that you believe about yourself that aren't true either. A lot of people, I used to tell myself I'm no good at math, and that belief stemmed from one teacher telling me I wasn't good at math because I couldn't do times tables back when I was 6. Do you know how fucked up that is? So that's why I always failed math throughout school and everything, because I just told myself I'm not good at math. And everyone knew, oh, Sam, don't put math near him. Man, now I can do the most complex math in my head. I can outsmart and out-calculate the people who were like the best at math at school. And it's just because I learned that it was me holding myself back, and it wasn't the fact that I wasn't good at math. Now I can do extremely long, complicated stuff in my head. And it wasn't because any other reason than, just realizing that all the things that were holding me back were false. They were just things I said about myself. So let's talk about how beliefs are formed, because in order to override these, we first need to understand how they got there in the first place. So as human beings, we take in information. So we experience and we walk through the world and the universe, and we're taking in information. We're getting all of this information from our surroundings, and we're taking it in a few different ways. One is we're seeing things. So we see things and we're computing, our brains are computing that information. We smell things, we hear things, and we can also touch things. So we've got these different ways to take in information. And information comes in, and then our brain creates perception. So our brain takes in data, and then it crunches this data and it computes it, and then it's like, what do we think about this information which just came in? And here's where things can go wrong. As we take in information, sometimes we say one thing about something that isn't actually the truth. So we might see something happen. I'll give you an example. Like my first time, my teacher told me I was bad at times tables back in school. So teacher told me something, I took in that information through my ears. And I told myself, the teacher is right, I'm not good at this. And my brain computed that and it was like, I'm not good at times tables, therefore I'm not good at math. And I replayed that situation in my head all the rest of that day and all the rest of that night. And then I kept replaying it for years and years. And the belief just compounded and compounded and engraved itself so deep into my mind that I was convinced that I could never do math again. And that plagued me for years. And this is what happens. Now, this wasn't true. How can one teacher telling someone one time that's completely irrelevant, that's not real? But your brain can do these different things. And here's the real kicker. Here's how things get out of hand. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something that happened in real life and something that you imagined. So your brain itself is just fed information, and then it creates perception. And all your brain is it's just fed information. So it sees things and it hears things, and then it perceives. But when you play a situation in your imagination, the brain doesn't know the difference. You're still feeding it information. And you're replaying a situation, you can kind of see it in your head, you can hear it, like you're replaying that same situation. And your brain doesn't know the difference. And have you ever thought of a painful memory and felt the exact same emotions and feelings in your body as if it had happened again? So, have you ever done something real embarrassing? All of us have. And then thought about it like later that day or even a week later, some people years later. And if they replay that memory, it hurts. Like you actually feel sick. You could cry, it's horrible. And you're reliving it. Sometimes the emotions are worse than it was when you experienced it in real life. And this is evidence that your brain doesn't know the difference. In a very logical, comprehension level, it's different. You know that you're actually not in that situation, but your body can feel the pain and it's very hard to turn that off. And that means that your brain is perceiving it that way. So that's just evidence that it happens. And they've done scientific tests and things. And you can look up the videos, you can look up the research papers, I've dug into this and fact-checked it and done countless days and nights of research into it. And so what I share with you guys isn't just something that I heard. Like, I've researched this to death. And there's been situations where they take someone and they put, they put a cube of ice on someone's back, and they tell them that it's a hot coal. So they tell them, look, I've got this hot coal, and they show them the hot coal in front of their eyes, and they can see it, and it's hot, and then they feel the heat coming up to their back, and then at the last minute, some guy puts the cube of ice on the guy's back instead. And what's crazy is the people scream. They actually think that it's happening, and they actually are like going through immense pain. Like, they're in real pain. They actually believe that it's happening. And do you know what's even crazier? This is what really convinced me. Their body actually starts to swell up. So the area where they put the ice cube, it goes red and it blisters. So not only do you feel the pain, but your body reacts to it as if it's happening. Now, if you're not convinced by this by now, that's got to convince you. If the human body can blister but from an imagination, then my God, your brain doesn't know the difference, because that isn't happening in real life. There is no hot coal on your back, but your body will blister. And so that just proves that, your brain doesn't know the difference. And you really need to understand this, because a lot of people do themselves a lot of harm. And I'm going to show you how they do that. So here's how most people's mindsets are so screwed up. And this is how it happens. One person tells somebody one time that they're dumb or that they can't do something. So like my math teacher, she told me, Sam, you're bad at math, you're always going to be bad at math. My accounting teacher told me, Sam, you're bad at accounting, like, you're never going to be good at accounting, like, why don't you just give up? Wish that accounting teacher could see me now. Like, we are balancing bigger numbers now than we did in our dummy accounting exams, and I'm better at accounting than him. So, one person tells somebody that they're dumb and they can't do something, and then here's where people ruin themselves. Then that person replays that movie inside their imagination again and again and again until they cement a belief deep inside their brain. So I thought about it so many times. Each time I replayed that scenario in my brain, I felt the emotion. I felt embarrassed. I felt shamed. I'd even heat up. My face would get red. And that's I was just training my brain. It was like this was happening again and again and again and again. The incident happened one time, but my brain thought that it happened like 1,000,000 times. And this is doing a lot of harm. A lot of people only do something silly once, and they replay it in their mind again and again until they've convinced themselves that they're really bad at it. And this is horrible. And this is why, people's mindsets are so screwed up. And this is what I figured out. And you want to think of beliefs like this. So let's say you have a belief about something, like I was bad at math. Well, here's how your brain works out how to store a belief. And it's basically like your brain has a set of scales inside it. And we put these rocks on one side of the scale or the other side. And so on the left-hand side of the scale, we have negative experiences. And let's say you do something and you have a bad experience. And then let's say on the other hand, we've got positive experiences. So I could have had one math experience which was bad, and then that would put a rock on the bad experience side. And then if I had one positive experience which was good, I'd put one rock on the positive side. But here's the thing. Every time you replay something in your mind, it's just like adding another rock, because your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So I thought, the real scenario in life happened where I did bad in math, and that placed one rock. And one rock ain't too bad. But I replayed that memory so many times that I placed like 1 billion rocks on that scale, and my scales were so jammed on the negative that, that was my belief. So what happens is whatever experience you've played in your mind the most, that is the way you will have shaped and formed a belief about anything. And this is a really good way to understand how your mind creates beliefs. And it's safe to assume that most people have a ton of bad beliefs about things. And I had more than you can possibly imagine. And here's how you fix it. So like I said, we take in information through our eyes, our ears, our smell, and our touch, and then our brain computes it and it creates perception about something, and then it stacks rocks on one side or the other side of the scale and it forms a belief. And then that belief is in our system, so we go about life as if that belief is a truism. And so that affects everything. And, we've got our negative and our positive. So instead of thinking about and worrying about bad things, you should start thinking about good things. And I'll explain this in better detail. And we call these affirmations. So what you want to do is use your mind as your training ground. And what I mean by this is you can't experience positive experience in the real world enough. It doesn't happen. And I learned this from Michael Jordan, of all people. So I was reading through Michael Jordan's letters and to himself and his diaries and stuff, which he shared in all of his books. And one thing stood out to me, and he said that I shot more three-pointers in my imagination than I ever did in real life. And the reason why I did is because in my imagination I could never miss. Every time I shot, the ball went through and it was clean. And in my imagination I could train and train and train, and every time it went in. And I'd practice my grip, I'd practice, my jump, I'd practice my shot, and then I'd take the shot, I'd watch it go through the hoop, and then I'd let the positive emotions of getting that shot just run through my body. Because he said the real world is a harsh training ground, and if he went out into the real world, his coach was telling him that he was a loser and that he should quit. Everyone else was telling him he was shit at basketball. And sometimes when he played, he didn't do that well. And if he shot a three-pointer in real life, sometimes it didn't go in. And so he knew that if he underperformed in the real world, he'd be creating these beliefs that he wasn't any good. And the only way to escape that and work on it was in his imagination. And so he did that. He trained in his mind. And pro golfers do this too. I then started looking at other athletes. I was like, is Michael Jordan the exception? I found tennis players, I found golfers like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods said he played far more golf and shot way more shots and did more putts in his mind than he ever did and ever could do in real life. And it's not just in sports, it's in business too. Every winner in every different facet of life has found these things out and practiced them and exploited them. And if you want success in your life too, then you should take these into your life as well. And what I have is something that I call an affirmation. And it's what I do is I look through and I find things where I need to work on. So I might find some weaknesses or some bad beliefs about myself, and then I create what I call an affirmation. And I'm going to share mine with you. Again, I'm just sharing my personal stuff, but I hope it's going to serve you guys. So let's just zoom in here and I'll introduce you to this. So I write down everything which I want to do in a sentence that says it as if I currently have it. And I call this constructive imagination or daily affirmations. And here's the first one. I always think and act today. I feel heroic, confident, and exhilarated knowing my actions today will create momentum tomorrow and the next day. I feel unstoppable. So I was thinking to myself, I'm not very good at acting today, and I always procrastinate. So I was like, well, I need to create an affirmation that's the exact opposite of that. I was like, I need to say that I always think and act today. And then I was like, now I need to associate some feeling to it, because just a sentence alone won't change your belief. You have to associate feeling. The brain understands because you feel, and if you feel bad and if you feel sick or if you feel in pain, your brain learns what to call that belief. And that's why people screw themselves up so much. When they replay embarrassing things, you feel the pain. You don't believe me? Dredge something up from your past now that was painful and you feel it. Then your brain feels that pain and it's like, okay, this is a bad belief. So you need to associate feeling to it so that you can cement the belief. So what I do is I come up with a positive statement and then I associate emotion. So I'll walk you through some more. I am free of the fear of rejection. I used to be afraid of rejection. So I said, I'm free of the fear of rejection. Rejection is a necessary thing to achieve success. I act without the fear of rejection, and I feel confident, strong-minded, and energized. Another fear I had was I'm not good enough. So I said, I am good enough. I am smart, helpful, and worthy of taking up somebody else's time. I always used to feel like I was hassling people, and the business owners didn't want to talk to me. So I told myself I'm worthy of taking up people's time. And knowing that I'm good enough makes me feel comfortable, confident, and exhilarated. I gave it a meaning. And then I said I'm bad at mistakes and failure. So I said I am free of the fear of this. I judged other people, and I knew that was bad. So I said I'm very proud to be free of judging other people and comparing them to myself. And then I always used to think people were talking about me and saying things. So I said I'm very proud to be free of imagining other people are saying things about me. And then didn't like calling people. So I said, I love calling my prospects on the phone. Each call is a new opportunity to build a relationship. And, I really worked on this. I love closing the deal. I love taking action. I find it easier to improve myself every single day. I love exercising every day. I put in all of this stuff. And then I attract success. So I thought success was hard, and that success wasn't for me. And so I said, I attract success. I was like, success and good things are naturally attracted to me, and I feel prosperous and amazing every day. I mind-washed my own brain to be success-oriented. I used to be negative believed in every way, shape, or form, and I completely hypnotized and rewired my own brain to think the opposite. So now, without a word of a lie, I truly feel like success just comes to me. Every day, something just seems to get better. Like, money keeps piling in, more clients keep coming, it even blows me away sometimes how good things really are. And so, this has all come because I've trained my brain and I've worked on everything. And you can really, it doesn't matter how you feel about something, if you practice it enough in your imagination, and if you associate feeling to it and emotion, you will create the belief. And I say a lot of things. I am successful. Success comes to me easy. I see opportunity everywhere I look. It's easy to be successful. I feel amazing every morning when I wake up. I used to feel groggy when I woke up. So I was like, screw that. I'm going to make an affirmation. And now when I open my eyes, I'm like, bam, let's do it. I'm an excellent marketer. I'm an amazing copywriter. I love sending information to people. I'm an amazing speaker. I create the life of my dreams. I'm an unstoppable human being and can achieve anything. I am motivated and energetic. I'm proud of myself. I did all of this stuff. And, I went through so much of this and really worked on all of these different things, and it has served me more than I can possibly explain in a video or in words. So I'm giving you guys a huge head start. I'm sure you can see by this video how much thought I've given this. I've given this thousands of hours of thought, and I've read God knows how many books, probably more than 50 or 60, just on the topic of this. And I have hunted and done so much thinking and work on this, and I have spent so much time on this. I wrote these out individually, and I've spent so much time on this, and now I'm just giving it all to you. I'm even giving you all of my affirmations, and there's 7 pages of them, because chances are a lot of these affirmations are things that you need to work on too. Pretty much everyone has a fear of rejection. Pretty much everyone procrastinates. Pretty much everyone doesn't think they're good enough. So these will probably be very good for you to work on too. So I'm giving you guys a real head start here. So these are going to serve you well. And if you've got ones if you've got a negative thing in your life or a negative belief that you need to clean up, feel free to add it to this list. And if there's some things in here that you don't want, delete them and create your perfect affirmations, and then you want to print them out and you want to have them on hand at all times, and you want to practice them daily. So we've covered quite a lot of different information here. So let's now bring all of this information and all of this different stuff together. Let's bring it all together. I'll show you how it interacts, and let's turn it into, let's put it into action. Let's get it done. So there's only 3 things you need to succeed in life. You need a plan, you need specialized knowledge, and you need the right mindset. And I told you my lessons in life. The mirror. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. People who don't invest in themselves, they can't get others to invest in them. People who treat their vendors poorly will get treated poorly by their clients. People who don't pay their bills on time, their clients are going to do that to them. Whatever you practice, you will pay for in your own business. So you really got to clean up all of this. You can't have any breaches. Then I also told you how to create your plan from the big picture down to the daily action items. And I gave you an exercise and a worksheet so that you can do this. Very important to complete the work. Download it, print it, take the time, invest in it, get it done, scan it, upload it to your computer. It'll pay dividends for years. And then creating your new identity and mindset document. The person who you are today is not going to be the person who achieves the results that you want. You have to really become a new person. And I'm not saying you have to, leave people you love or anything like that. No way. I'm saying, that you have to go and get plastic surgery or anything like that. Please don't misinterpret that. I'm just saying you're going to have new beliefs and new practices and new disciplines, and you're going to have a new self-image to perform how you want to perform. So create that new identity. Take the time to complete that mindset document. I gave you an exercise and I gave you the worksheets. Download it, print it, do the work. Then I showed you how beliefs are formed and how to override them. So I showed you how we take information, process it, and create a belief, and how most of our beliefs are false. And I showed you how to override them with good beliefs using affirmations. And I showed you all of that. And I even gave you a list of all of my affirmations. And then the final thing is how to work on your mindset daily. And this is something which I call a mindset routine. So you're probably thinking, my God, Sam, there's a lot of stuff. Like, how am I going to manage this? How am I going to make sure I do it? Well, I got good news. I've developed a mindset routine, very simple. You just follow this morning and night. So your daily mindset routine. So every single day, first thing in the morning and the last thing at night, you want to read over the following. Your big picture plan. Have it printed, put it in a little clear file. I used a little folder which I bought on Amazon. Buy a little folder, print it out and put them in there so that you can have the folder. If you just have papers, they get lost and all messed up. So invest $2 in a nice folder. So I open it up at night and I read it while I'm lying in bed. And I imagine my big picture and I think about my goals. And then I read my personal identity document. I think to myself, how am I going on this? And I imagine it and I think about it. And then I work through my daily affirmations. And I don't just say each one. Don't make the mistake of just reading the words. It doesn't work if you just read the words. You need to read the words, and then you need to imagine a scenario where this actually happens. So if you're saying, I take action today, I'm always take action today, and I feel heroic when I take action today, if you just read that as a sentence, it won't work. Your brain isn't that dumb. You have to read the sentence, then you have to imagine a scenario where you do take action today. So I imagine something which I need to do, and I imagine myself doing it and taking action on it. And then I let the emotions run through my body for 10 or 20 seconds. And so if I'm taking action on something and I feel good about it, and I've let the emotions run through my body and I feel good, and that's tricking the brain. When the brain sees a scenario imagined in your mind, and then you associate some feeling, your brain's like, well, that happened, so it logs it as a fact. And that's putting positive rocks on the right side of the scale. That's working on shaping your beliefs, and it will make you absolutely unstoppable if you work on this stuff. And like I said, don't dismiss this. Don't think it's weird. Don't think it's woo-woo. Don't think it's anything. I've got a 5-year track record to prove this, and not just me saying it. I got people who witnessed it each step of the way. This ain't no mythical shit. This happened. It's real, and I've got all the facts. There's no one-offs. 5-year track record and running, and I'm certain it's going to run for the rest of my life. So do this. Take the time. It'll completely change your life. And here's a book which I recommend, which I love. This is one of the best books I've ever read, and it's by a guy called Tim Grover, and he was Michael Jordan's coach. So Michael Jordan didn't want anyone to have Tim Grover. He was his secret weapon, and Tim only worked with Michael. And they would spend all day and all night like locked away in gyms just training. And so Tim is like one of the best coaches in the world for basketball players. He's also taught Kobe and other some of the best basketball players of all time. And so this guy is good, and you want to read this book because you see what these guys have that others don't, and you want to become relentless. Like, I looked at how Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan is like the greatest basketball player of all time. Like, no one's rivaled him, and he started off with everyone telling him he couldn't do it, and he did it. And so I want to know, what was Michael's mindset like? I want that. And so this book will tell you. So I recommend you buy this book from Amazon. It is awesome, and you want to adopt the same mindset. You want to be relentless. And the thing is that getting to 7 figures with your coaching or consulting business, it's going to take some hard work, and it's going to put you outside your comfort zone. And the truth is without a dream and without a vision, you'll get sidetracked, and you will not have the grit to get through each day. And I use the word grit because most entrepreneurs don't have it, and you need to develop it. No one's born with grit. I didn't have it. I had no piece of grit at all. And so I'd get started with the day and I'd get worn out. If something small came up and blindsided me, I'd let it affect me emotionally. And now it doesn't matter what happens. You can't get me away. I am so locked and so focused that nothing is going to touch my attention. It doesn't matter if anything happens. Like, I've trained myself, and that's what you need to do. And, I've mind-washed myself so much, and that I've honestly turned myself into like the perfect machine for executing on these things and growing into the person I want to be. And, just to give you an idea, like, I like to think of it when I'm going after a goal. It's like an alligator has like a jaw locked on a piece of meat or on its prey. Like, if I want something now, it is absolute locked, and I am so relentless to getting it that I don't think anyone could really come up and compete with me. I feel sorry for my competitors because I will die before I lose. And it doesn't matter what it is. I have so much grit and so much drive and so much motivation that there is just no stopping me. And that's what you want to develop for yourself. And this is how you do it. I'm not just trying to show off or anything by saying, here's what I've done for myself. I gave you guys the steps to do this for yourself too. And you want to become so relentless that you feel that same way, and that you feel sorry for your competitors, because you just know that even if they did have more money, and even if they did have more staff, that there's just no way that they can possibly compete. And that's how you want to feel. And this is your life and your business. and I can show you exactly how to get to 7 figures. I've done it myself, and I've helped my clients do it. I have 9 7-figure success stories from this training. No one else in this industry has that, and I'm just getting started. So I can show you how to get to 7 figures. I got the blueprint, I got the map, I got the step-by-step action plan. But, I can show you how to get to 7 figures, and I can show you how to live like a king. But it is you that has to get committed enough to do the work. Like I got the map. I got every instruction to show you how to do it. And if you execute on this stuff, my God, you can live well. But it is you and only you that has to get committed enough to do the work. And a lot of people ask me, Sam, like what's the success rate or the percentage chance or the probability of me doing your program and succeeding? And this is such a flawed question. Probability implies that the participant in the probability experiment has no control over their outcome, and it assumes all things constant, and that it's just a game of chance, like flipping a coin, because a coin has no influence over what side it lands on. You flip that coin, it can't participate in the experiment. And a lot of people, they think that doing my program is just like flipping a coin, and they want to know what the percentage chance is. It's mad. Probability doesn't even apply to this. And because the person who is in the experiment has the ability to influence the outcome, and that's what we call reflexivity. You can Google that term, or that's what we call a feedback loop. The participant can change the variables in the game. And so people ask me, Sam, what are the chances of success? And I'm like, well, you create those for yourself. And everyone talks about, what are the chances of starting a business that's successful? What are the chances of being a millionaire? What are the chances of this and that? And if the chances are low, they don't try it. And I'm like, man, these people are dumb. They don't even know how probability exists. And this is coming from the dude who apparently was a failure at maths. And now I understand probability and experiments and reflexivity and things better than anyone else. So, there's no such thing as probability when you can affect the outcome. And so if you choose to do the work, if you choose to work on your mindset, every little piece of work that you do, it changes the outcome which you can get. And you actively have a role in rigging your own game, and you actively have a role in creating your own probability as you move through the map. And so it's just like flipping a coin, and imagine if that coin was somehow able to to behave and flip itself around and land the other way. Well, no one would call flipping a coin a fair game. But that's what business is. It's not a game of probability. You can affect the outcome. And when a participant can affect their outcome, that's called reflexivity, and that means that it's not an accurate experiment, and it means that you can't call it probable chance. And if you think that's, bullshit, well, it was George Soros who invented all of that thinking, and he's the best hedge fund investor in the world. So, and he's who I learned that from, and that's how he buys all of his stocks. And that's, where I learned that from. And that's what taught me that. So you can create your own odds, and it is your life and your business, and I can show you how to get to 7 figures and live like you've never even believed. But it is you who has to get committed enough to do the work. And let's do this. You've enrolled in this program. If you've watched this video to this time, I know you're committed. Now you've just got to do the work. Let's get you doing this. It's your time. Let's get to work.